them come. This is their fate.
All right. Welcome back to the House of Wolves podcast. I'm your host, Deontay, here with my near and dear friends, Jalen and Josh. Today we got quite a bit to talk about. We're going over Game Informer. Unfortunately, its demise due to the GameStop overlords. We got that new Overwatch character, Juno. We're going to probably try to give a little quick discussion on Bungie being Bungie, losing 30% of its staff, overselling its abilities, and more. But before we get started, per usual, Jalen, Josh, tell the people how you been, what you've been up to, what you've been doing, how's life going, what you've been playing, what you've been doing, what you've been singing. Talk to the people.
Yeah, so I mean, with me, same thing I've been doing, traveling. I'm doing good for the most part though. Same old traveling, hooping and stuff like that. I have been playing multiverses, playing a little bit of them rank matches. Now I'm in gold ranking them up. Like,
Go
I
rank.
might have to go up to
Go rank,
platinum or diamond maybe. I don't know. Me and my friend George been playing on there, so we gonna keep it kind of going crazy. But I say in the ranked matches, I don't feel like the people getting harder or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
With the RP, like the rank points or whatever, similar to like how Apex do their situation. I ain't feel like it was like a huge difference. You probably notice it when you get later on and stuff like that. I think we just lose points faster now. It starts back over, but we've been progressing though. Probably putting a little bit too much time in that game, if I'm being completely honest. But I mean, I've been enjoying it because it's a funny game. Like,
yeah.
So, other than that, I was playing this game called like Pokemon Reunion on the way to like Tennessee or whatever because I had flew there for a family reunion out in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, like the Smoky Mountains or in that area. So it was
That's fun.
yeah, it was cool over there. I had a good turnout. Our family reunion. Didn't think a lot of people was gonna be in no cabins, but it was straight though. So I got in and got out, came back, and I just been playing that. That's like a fan made Pokemon game where you play as like Red from like the original Pokemon, like Red and Green version and stuff like that. And then you just kind of backtracking through Kanto or whatever after he been away. It's like a time skip game basically. So it's straight for what it is. Then the other thing, I had just started a YouTube. I was talking to Deontay a little bit. I've been getting inspiration from all these people and stuff like that. I'm like, I'm gonna go ahead and just make a YouTube. I've been contemplating it, so I just put out a YouTube video today, my first one and stuff like that. So it was a little. I ain't gonna lie, it's a little exciting a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, I'm gonna have to keep editing these because I mean, I don't have an issue editing and stuff like that. I think it's a little bit interesting to do. So I'm gonna do that until I get burnt out of it. So. But that's pretty much it with me though.
Yeah. Okay, well that's pretty cool. Gold rank. That's kind of crazy in the multiverses. I told you, it's all it takes is easy access and a decent game. And I think that's pretty much the winning formula for those free to plays, even if you don't spend no money. But what about you, Josh? What you been up to? What you been doing? And what you been playing? Because we ain't really got on the game in a minute. So, what have y'all been doing? That's for real.
Yeah, as far as games, I haven't been playing anything too exciting. Still playing my free to play games, Zone Zeros and stuff. I'm kind of waiting for like these other games like Marvel Rivals and there's another one called Mecha Break to like let me into the betas because they seem interesting and I kind of want to play like a multiplayer PvP game that's free, but I haven't found anything yet, at least. But I know Marvel Rivals is launching pretty soon, and so I'll probably be playing that. As far as other video games, not much. Just been actually hanging out a lot with the family and working. I tried to get the little one to play the game with me the other day, and she's actually like paying attention to what's on the screen now. So she might have to boot up some Mario. I didn't actually have any kids games for her, but she likes bears. and there's a bear on Zenless Zone Zero, so I let her like hit the buttons, and she was having fun. So I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to, you know, now start paying attention to what
Game
games is on the
Pass.
screen.
Game
Yeah,
Pass got one. It's that Bluey game that me and the kids was playing not too long ago, where they as soon as they heard the theme song, they was like, "What the heck is he playing?" I was playing on my handheld, and they came over and we were just you just walk around and you go find stuff. It's like a scavenger hunt. It's very boring gameplay, but it kept
yeah,
them engaged for a little bit, and they thought it was cool. So maybe something.
yeah. So I'm be on the lookout for kids games.
Hmm.
Hopefully they're not too boring, something we can both enjoy, but we'll see.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, yeah, it's like super hot out here and raining. Like we had a real big thunderstorm, and but it was also like 40 degrees um, Celsius, which is
Jeez.
like yeah, like 100.
Has it been
Yeah,
like a
but
pretty long? Has it been like one of your longest hot seasons, or is it not? This is typical, I guess.
so Japan is always hot, like in the mid 30s, but of course, like with climate change and stuff, we get in the closer to the 40s a lot more often. So I don't know what the exact records are, but yeah, it is I would say unprecedented.
Gotcha. Mm.
Mhm.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, well, I ain't been doing much. I ain't played no games, honestly. I tried to hop on Diablo for a little bit, didn't really feel interested, and so I haven't really been playing nothing. I thought I was. Oh, I know what I've been doing. I've been playing with that stupid NAS all day. Nah, that sounded crazy. The NAS network access storage. I've been playing with that system. I've been getting my hard drives. I bought two 16 terabytes, but they were renewed. So um, yeah, let's pray for the best there. But I was just trying to kind of started get my stuff started and figure out the best ways to kind of set it up. And I know a lot of they were 18 terabytes, but you only get 16 terabytes of space, I believe, and it's due to the whole um, how they kind of treat it versus how they read it. Anyways, there's a
But
lot of
you
things
setting
you
them
have
up
to.
for like movie streaming?
Yeah, no, not yet. I don't want to do the Plex stuff yet. I was thinking about doing that, but I haven't set it up for that yet. It's just strictly just storage between devices in case I want to move things quickly. Because again, when I
Mhm.
do buy new handhelds, a lot of stuff has to be transferred and a lot of stuff has to be changed over. And sometimes it's annoying to have to go deal with a physical SD card when literally all I got to do is attach it to the NAS and just pull everything over. So having a official backup for my SD card that does on my emulation or something is super more beneficial than having an SD card I pop out and pop in elsewhere. So it's a lot of like components of that versus and like all my photos and stuff like that. But it's a backup to my backup because I still don't want to trust it enough to kind of like hold all my crap. So it's like it's just another way for me to have access to all my stuff wherever I go, but also in the household. But I've been learning a lot about it and been working on it and trying to understand it more. I did do a little bit of I built in some redundancy or some fail safes where if one drive fails, it doesn't matter. It will still have a backup. So when I plugged in to 18 terabytes, I only got 18 terabytes of space because one of them is built to protect the other one or the basically they're built to protect each other. So if one fails, it doesn't matter. It's not as if it was, sorry. If it's not doubling the space, it's just cloning each. So as I
Mhm.
continue to build out, I want that to continue to be the case. So that way, if one does fail, there's no problem there. But you also got to be worried about power outages and all that other stuff. So there's a lot that goes into creating a NAS and also making it secure. So I've just been learning the ins and outs of that. It's been really fun and engaging, and just kind of having another project on my hands to kind of challenge myself to keep, learning new stuff. Like, yeah, that's all I can ask for. So I'm learning a lot about that, and it's cool to kind of go through all the channels that really have a lot of education around servers and how all that stuff work. I'm learning a lot about 10 gigabits and transfer speeds, and now I'm starting to realize why my internet speeds wasn't so as fast as I thought, because there was actually limitations and how much transfers. Like, I didn't know any of this stuff, but it's nice to be able to kind of still, at this big grown age, still learn new things, and especially around networking and all that good jazz. So I have been delving deep into that, so it has been taking up a lot of my extra time, because I just think it's cool. So, but overall, I got it set up, got my wife set up. She's now able to plug up all her photos directly to this, and I don't have to worry about her not having that backup source, because I know she's constantly worrying about the kids' photos and whether or not they're going to be backed up, because she's running out of space on other platforms. But this again is 18 terabytes, and between me and her, we got about 4 terabytes worth of stuff. So I think we'll be fine for a very long time. And I don't even think we got 4 terabytes. I think I'm at 2 and she's at like 300 gigs. I'm just including everything that I put on there as of now. So it's good, basically, is what I'm saying. I think we got plenty of room to grow, and I won't be hurting for space for quite a bit of time. I just got to build out the 3-2-1 method, where you do a backup of your backup and you do an offsite. So now I got to figure out an offsite where, in case my house burned down or whatever, I have a way to have that data elsewhere backed up. So I don't know how that's gonna work, but that's the next one. So maybe I buy another NAS and I just have it stored offsite somewhere, but we'll see. But yeah, that is my thoughts around NAS that you probably didn't need to know, but yeah, I've been having fun with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely
Mhm.
a good idea, because I was looking at hard drives and stuff not too long ago, because I got like cloud storage and stuff like that, but one, it's expensive, and two, that's probably long term not the best way to store stuff. So having a physical version of it when you're home will be better long term for me. I just have to go through the process of setting it up, and like you said, having a multiple backups and a place that's also offsite, like you said, to make sure that even if something happened in your house, like, water damage or fire or whatever, that you still have your stuff backed up.
Yeah.
So I think long term, I think we should probably all be thinking that way,
Yeah.
because subscriptions, their prices are going to keep going up, and now it's probably been a while, but now subscriptions are past the point where they're convenient, or worth the convenience. You might as well start buying physical again.
Yeah.
For some stuff, you can. Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed. So, and again, you obviously, I'm starting out. Obviously, some people will be like, "This guy's crazy, backing up all his stuff on renewed doc items." But I understand that right now, my storage needs are different and they're not as expensive. But as I continue to grow my pockets, grow my business and my abilities, obviously there's going to be proper measures to put in place in order for those things to be mitigated as well. But right now, I'm just trying to make sure that the things that I'm putting in place and the things that I have are built to, um, they have more longevity. Yeah, I can go buy a 4 terabyte brand new, but why in the heck would I do that? And if I can get the biggest amount of space, 18 terabytes, and it still feels as if I'm making the right investment head on versus making the wrong ones where I'm doing all my bays are filled up with 4 terabytes, and it's not really that beneficial when I could have filled one bay with 118 at a much cheaper price because I, was able to do it renewed versus that. So I'm thinking of it from that standpoint, and that's why I lean more towards that way. And I get it. Some people just like, I'm not that trustworthy, but there is some redundancies in base. There are some things that you could do to help mitigate some risk. And I think as I continue to learn and go on my journey, I'm probably going to write it down and share it with anybody on my YouTube channel. So that's pretty much how it goes. So my failures will be your successes at some point, just so you know. But yeah, that's what I've been doing. What else? Kids are good. Everything is good there. Family. The babies are just super smart. I caught them reading their little Chicka Chicka Boom Boom book and their Sleep Tight with the Very Hungry Caterpillar, and they were like tracing the words. Obviously, they just remember it memory, but they were like literally tracing each word, and it was freaking adorable. It's just, they're growing, they're getting better, they're getting smarter. But let's move on because it's been 16 minutes and we've been on the intro. Let's get into some of these games. Where do we want to start? Do we want to start with the bad news? I think we should start with the bad. Game Informer. I kind of made a piece on this on my page, but Game Informer to me was a pretty significant staple in the gaming community. I'm gonna leave it right there because I think everybody knows how I feel about it. I'm gonna pass it around to my esteemed panel and kind of ask, what are y'all thoughts when y'all heard Game Informer is dead initially, and then how do you feel about it today? Let's go with Josh. How you feel?
Two ways. One, I think, of course, physical game media is maybe not a super very profitable business front right now. Just because a lot of news comes from social media or different things like that. So Game Informer, I can see a lot of people not putting money into that ecosystem. That being said, Game Informer was probably, in my opinion, probably one of the better gaming magazines, at least from my experience. Like I've had like Edge magazine and different stuff like that. But for when I was growing up, Game Informer always had very good coverage, very good, well, obviously like art and articles and coverage of games, both old and new. And I just remember like when I go to GameStop and I'm buying a game and they offer me the Game Informer subscription, even though I didn't want to pay the extra money for it, it was like, oh, but maybe I get something in the mail and it's cool and they got a nice poster on it too and stuff like that. So I remember thinking about that stuff, and when I could afford it, I would buy into it. And when I couldn't, I still have my collection of the magazines, and every now and then I look back at them and like, oh, this the the Metal Gear Solid article or whatever else. So I got a lot of good memories of it, and I think that the articles themselves were always well, well written. So it's sad to lose that. It's sad to lose Game Informer,
Yeah.
to say the least. What I will say is, I think that I don't know if it's entirely Game Informer's fault, like it was, they're super negative or something like that. I think GameStop and just in general, the economy in general, a lot of companies are struggling to reach profit goals. And maybe those goals were, changed or increased because of COVID and because of, inflation rates and loans from the government. And now we're post COVID and things are, going back down. So I think a lot of businesses are hitting their less profitable departments harder than they should. Like maybe Game Informer could have scaled back, like,
Mm-hmm.
uh, long term or temporarily, but instead they just decided to scrap it entirely. I don't know if that was the right business decision. I personally don't agree with it. I'm not a businessman, but I think that longer term, there could have been more value there than what they were going to save for this quarter by shutting it down.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's all I got to say. What about you, Jalen? Any good memories about Game Informer?
Yeah, so I mean, Game Informer, what I remember is they was like basically like heavily tied to GameStop, or was an entity at GameStop or whatever. I used to have good memories of Game Informer. I mean, that was the main like game magazine, that I would receive. So I remember the days where I used to be like on Game Facts, Game Revolution, like Game Informer is always cool to get that in the mail, because like back then I think you could pay like $10, $15 or something like that and get that GameStop like pro membership or whatever, and then that
Mm-hmm.
would give you like a year's worth of like Game Informer magazine. So I used to look forward to seeing those. I remember they had like ODST in there. Um, just like some of the older games and stuff too. But when I got a little bit older and was able to pay for it and stuff, I remember like, yeah, sign me up. I mean, that's a plus to getting the 10% off with all the GameStop stuff. So it was like an icing on a cake type thing. And then they always have like interesting articles, like games like the release dates and stuff like that before the social media presence got super super big and stuff. So definitely always appreciated them. I think I kind of steered away from them when social media did get big naturally, right? But I think that it always had like a good feel to it. Like to actually be able to like read the magazines and like see, some of the artwork and all that type of stuff they had in it. I think the other reason I had drew back was because when the Power Up membership started costing a little bit more. You can either get
Mm-hmm.
the digital Game Informer magazines, or you can pay $5 to get the physical ones or whatever. And I'm like, I'm not gonna look at the digital ones for real, because I can
Yep.
go look somewhere else. But you could pay $5 to get the physical ones, and I was just kind of like, I mean, it's not really icing on the cake, and I mean, it's just $5 per year, right? You know what I'm saying? It ain't that significant, but
Yep.
in the grand scheme of things, you just kind of like, I mean, you really start evaluating, because on top of this, more drawback with that is the GameStop membership. Back when they had Blue Moon at GameStop back in like summer 2017 and stuff, they Power membership started losing like value, because trading values had tanked and things like that too. So now I got another hurdle in order to obtain these Game Informer magazines. So when I'm thinking about potentially getting a Power membership, yeah, I want $5 on top of that. And I'm like, I already don't want to pay 15 or 20 or whatever, how much it was costing and stuff like that. So it just basically what I'm getting at. They was cool for what they was. I definitely appreciate them. Heavy staple in my childhood and stuff like that. Getting older, they still cool and stuff, but now you got different forms of media, and you can access some of the same things for like cheaper, free or whatever, and it just wasn't necessarily worth it. And they heavily tied to GameStop. I don't even go to GameStop like that no more, if I'm being completely honest. So I think it just got something to do with how GameStop been doing, and cutting ties with something that they had previously invested in, things like that. So, like you
Yeah.
said, it probably got something to do with finances. So.
Yeah, I think that was a central pillar of theirs, is how do we support the narrative of the news media in regards to games releasing, games coming up, and just start to support what we are offering in store. So I think that was a genuine partnership because of it. Simply due to that, like, yeah, we need a game publication that's going to inform our customers about games that we are selling. So simple as that, right? And then it comes to the whole which I thought was a genius idea. I thought it was really cool. I used to always be really happy when I got those Game Informers in the mail. I still have like a box full of all of the older ones, because I was going to create like a some form of display for them in regards to just like I was going to create something creative with the Game Informers, because that was it was they were that meaningful to me. I mean, I remember seeing the Arkham Asylum case for the first time. I was like, what the heck is they doing with the Batman game? And we didn't know what was going on, but we just knew Joker was there. And it was like a lot of cool moments. I remember, because it was like media wasn't as social media wasn't as big as it was, internet wasn't as big as it is now. And it felt like those were like significant moments in my childhood of me reading a magazine through and through about a game that I was really anticipating. And I really value those memories, and I really value those publications. I think that's probably why I still value written articles more so than video format over everything, because it just feels more engaging, especially when it's actually meaningful. So, anyways, I say all that to say I think they started to, devalue themselves when they started to go into the digital age, and they had to create this digital space and compete in order for them to be profitable. I felt like GameStop made it inevitable for them to fail. I mean, they made it was inevitable because it just, when you're looking at Game Informer as it's in itself, no, it is not meant to be the most profit churning business regardless. It's supposed to be something that's a staple in the overarching business of GameStop, but GameStop itself is failing. So if you're trying to get Game Informer to now become an IGN or anything like that, there is not enough, because their ties were to you, the storefront, the ability to bring the customers in to read their publications and find value within it. Like that's what you initially did. To me, it was never an outside thing that I came to GameStop to find Game Informer. It was more so I came to GameStop and found Game Informer. So that is like their whole business model. I think when they decided to make them kind of start earning their own money or whatever they wanted to do with Game Informer, started doing publications online and started doing websites, they started to change the dynamic of what that budget looks like. And that's what caused a pain for them. I feel like that is essentially the downfall of Game Informer. I feel like there was so many different things that they were trying to do to make this publication become something that it was never meant to be, that it started to hinder the ability to be profitable and to look good on the books regardless of what outcome it was, because everybody's going to still need to be able to look through or be informed on a decision about a game, and whether or not they get it from Game Informer or not, it's just having that staple in your business as a game um, as a game seller. I think that is meaningful. So for it to be gone tells me a whole lot about how GameStop is operating. You can obviously, when you walk in there, they're pushing more Funko Pops, they're pushing more accessories, more clothes, all this other stuff. They're not really pushing games no more. So for me to show that Game Informer is now being set aside as well, that tells me that no, you're not GameStop anymore. You're just the stop. And whatever you're selling in there, I'm not really interested anyway, because there is not a real, like, the reason why I stopped going is the GameStop was the lack of informed people. It was like a lack of information, a lack of ability to kind of assess something and say, do you know what I'm talking about? And most of the time they had no clue. And I'm not saying that everybody has to have an understanding of everything in gaming, but you have to not be so, like, the customer you're trying to sell probably at some point has become more informed than you. And I feel like GameStop lost the ability to actually sell anything other than Funko Pops and things like that, because there was no true value there for what those clients, or for those clients that were coming in day to day. It just felt like it was no value there. It was like meaningless.
That's
You
because
kind
they
of already
gotta.
knew what you're coming to go get, and there was nothing else that you could say that was going to benefit me in any type of way, because you don't know. And that's kind of the deal.
That's because they gotta upsell you. That's the only reason they're there.
Yeah.
And not to say that the environment always used to be different, but I think that if GameStop felt more inviting to just like talk about games with people, with the staff or whatever, then it wouldn't feel like hostile in there, where they're trying to, like, what you trading in? Oh, you about to subscribe to this subscription, you about to do this, you about to do that. Like, no, I kind of just want to buy this and leave.
Yeah.
But But that being said, Apple's whole thing with the Apple Store is like trying to at least make people happy to want to come to the store and be there. And regardless if they buy anything, they enjoy the experience. And so it adds positivity to their next visit or things like that. And GameStop, I think, lost that a long time ago, where it's like every time I go in there, somebody's gonna try to like gank me with some trade-in prices. They're gonna try to upsell me, or all these type of things, and it's like I'm just gonna have a negative experience, and I literally just want to buy the game and leave now. And now that I don't have to go there, I'm not gonna choose to go there. I'm gonna go somewhere else where there's less friction, or I'm gonna just buy it online. I don't even have to leave the house. So I think GameStop has a bunch of issues, but like you said, they're the Funko Pop store now.
Yeah.
Uh, and without Game Informer, their identity as a game store is kind of like gone, I guess. And
Yeah, for
physical
sure.
media is slowly going away as well.
So yeah, I don't feel like they're a game store anymore. They're just a store, and I don't know what that store is, the identity is now. I feel like Game Informer was a pillar for them to kind of set themselves up as a leading informant of great games, what's coming out, what you should be thinking of, and informing their clients or their customers. I feel like they were clients at that point because honestly, sometimes it'd get to a point where I would have conversations with people about games that they were playing, that they were interested in, and that was probably some of my more interesting times at GameStop versus the times where I'm just going in and not necessarily browsing, just going to pick up something and looking at something and not really trying to engage in any of those conversations that they're trying to have because they're literally just trying to upsell me on something that doesn't make any sense or they don't really know what they're talking about. So I'm sitting there correcting them on their own stuff. So it is a lot of just over time built up bad experiences that have presented GameStop to be not the place to be anymore. And if I wanted to just go buy a game with no friction, I'm gonna just go to Target because they can do the same thing for me, and I could probably talk to that guy. Won't even bother me about anything outside of the standard thing they always ask you, which is would you like to protect it, and that's it. It's like there's nothing else. There's no membership that doesn't really benefit me in any type of way. There is no there's nothing. There's nothing there. So there's no pre-orders that he wants me to get on, so that I can make sure I'm in and new for the new games. There's nothing. There's nothing there. So I know that they were losing that battle since I started going there around late 2013 ish time frame. I was like, they are losing that battle of just getting customer service. But now that they kind of closed this down, it does tell me that they're out of the gaming and informing clients business, and they're now just trying to turn a profit. So that's cool, but it's not for me. And that was one of the main reasons I stayed subscribed, is because regardless of whether or not I wanted it to be digital, I kept getting the Game Informer subscription. I no longer wanted it digital, but I kept getting it for a long time, and now I don't really need it because there's nothing there at GameStop that really benefits me now. So yeah, that's my final thoughts
Yeah.
on it. What
Yeah.
anything else to add?
Man, GameStop been falling off ever since they started selling Pokemon draws. I'm like, bro, what?
That was
Remember
random.
games?
Pokemon draws is what's bringing them
Yeah.
down, man. I don't know about the
Nah,
Pokemon draws.
no, I'm not saying I was bringing them down. I knew they was falling off when they was selling Pokemon draws in there. I'm looking like, bro. I'm like, man, we trying to buy games, bro. We ain't trying to buy Pokemon draws, bro. Like, who buying draws at GameStop?
Oh my
You know?
god. I got a story about some colorful draws and so this is funny. I had a pair of yellow SpongeBob Squidward pants. SpongeBob SquarePants boxers. I was like, what, 13? I think. Anyways, I had these boxers on one day, and I was walking around the house with just these boxers on, and I don't remember what happened. somehow Sean got me outside and locked the door.
Mm,
So, so talk about some trauma and draws that shouldn't be. Or and I forget who purchased them. It wasn't my mama. I forget who it was. But anyways, that was that. As soon as you said that, and I was like, yeah, you're probably right. They should have been some trauma. I definitely just had a that's why I don't mess with Sean to this day. That's why he fat boy in my phone still. Uh,
uh,
but yeah, he definitely scarred me for that one. Uh,
yeah,
but nah, I don't think the colorful draws was the problem, man. I think that they just had a very bad business model, and they trying to push Funko Pops. So till
yeah. I
they
mean, that's
stop it.
pushing everything but games, and I mean, obviously, that's pushing their membership more and more. But I mean, we talked about how the membership was falling off anyway. Every time I look up, I feel like I was losing benefits to the membership, and I'm just like, it ain't. I'm getting finding less and less reason to come to y'all. So you see that GameStop credit card, man? It's trying any and everything, but at least they try though. You know what I'm saying? Better to try
Yeah,
than not try at all. So
exactly. They tried something, man. But um, it's been a good run, GameStop. I want to see how long you got. I don't really see them lasting that much longer, to be honest. It's just too much of the world is kind of going to this digital age, and it's unfortunate in a lot of ways because I think we're going to swing heavy that way, and then we're going to swing back the other. To be honest, I feel like it's going to be that way where a lot of these people are going to be digital, 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 and then they're going to realize how bad it is in regards to like ownership, and they're going to swing back the other way, and they're going to be itching for people to have physical media or physical things again. So I think GameStop is trying to weather the storm until that comes back, but I don't know how long that's going to be. And honestly, I don't know how long that swing back is going to last. It could be like a 3 year thing and then it goes right back to the other way. So I don't know. I do expect, though, a pretty drastic swing back the other way for ownership because I don't think any of these companies are ready for the level of um, the level that the client or the customer wants in regards to ownership of their digital things. I don't think they're ready for or prepared for that. So we'll see. Um, but anyways, let's move on. What's our next topic? Honestly, I didn't think the Star Wars Outlaws. So we got a topic up here: the Star Wars Outlaws PC specs. They seem to be very high, but honestly, I thought they weren't that bad. What's considered bad from them in regards to, because I'm thinking of it like, oh, that's an old card. Um, that's something that most people should be able to have, but I guess I'm not really thinking of it from the spectrum of no people. Most people don't have that. They said that. Hold on. 1440p requires what? Let me see.
Yeah,
So
I was just watching Digital Foundry talking about it, and they were pointing out the cards that you need just for 1080p or 1440p, and they definitely seem on the higher end, like we've seen with other games that came out this year, like Gotham Knights and uh, Dragon's Dogma and stuff like that. But what are the specs you're seeing for 1440p?
Well, for I was thinking at the minimum. The minimum is you all you needed was a AMD RX 5600 XT or a GTX 1660 with 6 gigabytes of VRAM. So I'm thinking 6 gigabytes. Oh, that's not so bad because most cards 8 gigs wise couldn't run um, most of those other games that you just was talking about. But
Mhm.
maybe I'm thinking of it from a different, I'm thinking of it differently. So high and ultra, I understand that those are going to require, a 4080 or a 7900 XTX. Um, but their high specs are showing 470 and a 3080. Do we consider that high at this point?
No, I think the issue was all of their requirements, even the minimum specs, require a upscaler. There's
Oh,
no raw output anymore for 1080p 30. If you're doing 1080p 30 without a upscaler, then you're gonna have a bad time. I guess because this is 1080p 30, and you set an upscaler to quality mode, which means that it's probably not
mm,
even 1080p. Obviously, it's going to be much lower. Um, so I think upscaling, like FSR, DLSS becoming the minimum spec is the issue, where a lot of people, I think the FSR capable cards and DLSS capable cards, there are a lot of them, but a lot of people still don't like use those features. Personally, like, yeah, if FSR is the only thing I had to use on my PC, I wouldn't want to have to rely on it so heavily. Like maybe
mm,
there's some games that are optimized well, like Horizon Zero Dawn, and FSR might, help me push it a little bit higher than what it is. Then that'll be good. But when the game like needs it, relies on it, that's not good because you're probably gonna have choppy frame pacing. You got FSR, you got input lag because of the FSR. So overall, just not a good experience for uh, a big PC game like this to require DLSS and the FSR for like the minimum entry point.
yeah, and it does look ugly. I ain't gonna lie. It's not like it's a pretty game, but I'm not saying that. I guess I'm always thinking of Ubisoft games as in like hmm, scale versus um actual uh graphics. I'm thinking of like, okay, the scale of the game is what's causing this to kind of be done this way. But yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think this game, it doesn't look that good to kind of require this much. Um, and I feel like this game looks definitely like laughably worse than Star Wars Jedi Survivor in animations, face animations, all that. That I wouldn't see why this would need 7900 XTX with frame gen with with an upscaler on just to get to 4K 60. So it is strange, but we'll see. I don't know. Do you think I guess I never asked you. What do you think about how the game looks currently? Like, do you think it looks fine?
I mean, I know that people were pointing out the textures and like the animations. I don't think it looks that bad because if you look at other Ubisoft games like Watch Dogs and stuff, I think it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
But because it's Star Wars, it looks more jarring because you expect it to be like EA Star Wars looks as good or better than like the movies and stuff like that. But now you come over to um, Ubisoft and it doesn't look that good. But overall, I think the game looks fine. Like I think the open world looks interesting enough that I want to drive around in it, and I think I can do some open world fun stuff in the game. There's
Gotcha.
no Ghost of Tsushima graphics wise, but it doesn't look bad to me. Like I mean, even though I like Elden Ring like is very beautiful art. Most of the time, Elden Ring looked
Yeah.
ugly, but
Yeah.
sometimes still beautiful. Whereas
No,
this,
it's
on the
definitely I
technical
definitely
level,
that
looks
that.
better than Elden Ring,
Mm-hmm.
even though the environments are more basic.
Gotcha. No, I 100% agree with your statement there. I feel like that is almost how I always felt about Elden Ring. I was like, man, this is a really nice looking game for From Software. And it was always that asterisk because there was plenty of other games out there that looked much better and ran better, but for what you were getting scale wise, I felt like it was always all moments where I'm jumping over a cliff and I see so much more of the world that I felt like I was always like, I don't really care if it's like downgraded in that way because I feel like the world itself, and that's what I was trying to say when I was saying I feel like there was more scale for Ubisoft games than it is truly like um, graphical details and stuff like that. I feel like the scale always wowed me. It kind of got old after a while with all the Ubisoft Assassin's Creed games, but I feel like with a Star Wars world, I feel like I'm gonna get that wow factor back again. So that's what I'm hoping for, at least. These specs do feel a little concerning, but again, luckily we have an option for us to jump in at a cheaper price. I'm gonna try it, and if I don't like it, I don't like it. But I think there is still worth a try at that price point. I think people should take advantage of it if you can. To try it out, or you could just wait for reviews, and if you're really passionate about it, buy it outright. But to me, regardless of how bad or good it does, I'm gonna pay my 15, I'm gonna play it, and I'm gonna get off of it. That's gonna be the end of it. And I might revisit it back when it's 15 again on Steam. But you know how Ubisoft is, they always annoying with their Steam drops. So anyways, I say all of that to say I didn't think they were that bad, but yeah, after further review of the upscalers being added in there, it definitely feels like problematic for sure, especially when their target is only like 60 FPS, and it's not like, yeah, especially with the recommended, it's like you still need a 3080 for recommended, but I really want to see how this game really works and looks well. I just feel like it's going to be a huge downgrade, and I don't want that, but I think the best course of action is to play it on PC. That's where you're playing it, right, Josh? You're not playing on console, are you? Or...
No, I'm probably playing on PC if it runs decent, but if it runs bad, then I'm probably not going to get it until they fix it.
Yeah. Okay. What about you, Jalen? You gonna pick up Star Wars Outlaws? Gonna hop into the world of Ubisoft again?
I know you played a Star Wars game this year. You gotta keep that streak going.
You sure did. This might be a little different for you.
Man, I say Ubisoft.
They say it's like Uncharted 4.
They did.
Man, y'all say Ubisoft, bro.
No, they said this game made for Jalen, so that's what I heard. So
Ubisoft and me be sleep. They go together.
Oh my goodness!
But no, I mean, I might check it out, man.
Quit saying I might, man. It's all guarantees around here now. So yeah, I'll check it out because you still ain't checked out Diablo. You still ain't cut that game. You still ain't cut it all, man. That
demonic game ain't setting no foot in my crib, bro. They have no
oh my god
demonic presence.
Gee Louise, man. We out here trying to save Sanctuary. We're not trying to bring it to us. We trying to save
Sanctuary. You're the Lord's warrior.
Yeah, what you mean?
Bro. You out here fighting Diablo.
Yeah, you are Lord of War. What you talking about? You talking about like you out here Diablo himself. Or like we out here trying to take out Diablo and his minions, man.
Bro, it's the fourth Diablo and they still ain't took Diablo out, bro.
That has nothing neither here nor there, man. That's none of that. None of that matters.
You know, you be sleep at night, or you got clothes hanging up, or just sitting somewhere, and they be making faces or like looking like figures and stuff like that.
Oh my god!
Hey, after playing Diablo, I'm be looking like, hey man, I don't think this shirt can make that face before, bro. What's going on here? My pants and shorts and joint forces to make these silhouettes in the dirt.
Oh my goodness, man. Listen, trust me, it don't matter about none of that. All we care about is the drops, and more drops, man. We don't care about none of that other stuff. But at some point, we gonna get you on that Diablo, man.
You should have never told me to hop on a live stream to see that trailer, bro. When that arm broke open and whatever that thing was, I was just like, yeah, all right.
Look, man, that was the most grotesque thing I ever seen in my life. I'm not saying that made me excited to get back on the game. It was more so like, dang, they crazy out here for real. But that's it.
If they goal was to keep me off that game, I said they had good execution.
Oh my goodness. Man, you gonna play that game. I don't know what you're talking about, Gene.
Yeah, I thought he fought it.
All right, let's move on. Bungie. Can't take a break, can't get a break, can't catch a break, Bungie. I already knew this was coming. I feel like they can weather the storm. But Luke Smith is gone. I think it was somebody else that was big over there that's gone too.
Yeah, Luke Smith, wasn't he like the main
Yeah, he was the
creative?
main guy, main
Yep, since
creative.
Destiny 1. And there was
Mm,
another guy who was also from the original Bungie, who were like the heads of the company, are also gone. So
yep.
basically, two of the biggest, decision makers at Bungie are gone.
Yes. So, and Bungie in itself is no longer Bungie, but I'm hoping that the talent that they had in regards to networking, gameplay, and mechanics gets filtered out through the Sony stratosphere. Um, I really don't want Bungie to end, but honestly, this is poor management, and I don't really know how to right course poor management. These guys oversold something, which I felt like the same thing happened with Bethesda, but for some reason, Microsoft decided to just we're too big for you to fail, so we're gonna give you more money, and they made Starfield become one of the biggest successes. But with that whole Redfall thing, oh, I could see it. I was like, oh, they sold them a dream. But this one, unfortunately, Bungie made it in a contract. They said, hey, we'll let you do what you want to do. We let you do whatever you want to do as long as you hit them numbers. You hit them numbers, we ain't hitting you. We hit them numbers, we ain't hitting you. But unfortunately, they wasn't really hitting those numbers, and they overshot themselves in regards to what they were going to be producing, what they were going to be able to get. And even if the final shape did well, super well, it was never going to be enough. These already planned layoffs because of the fact that they overshot themselves from the beginning with Lightfall and everything else. So it was a snowball effect, and they kind of tried to hide their problems. And honestly, I don't blame the developers. I just blame the people up at that's running it. The people that's actually in charge. It just feels as if the little people gotta take the brunt of it because y'all didn't do y'all part. And honestly, with all um those stupid little exclusives, day one exclusives with Sony deserved to have this on their books. I hope they eat it, and they hope they have a good nice sandwich of misery, because that is simply enough a byproduct of the laziness that came to what they would sell y'all to get people to buy it on their console anyways. And now that now that you have to kind of hold that, and I guess I'm not trying to I'm not trying to dance on their grave a little in this sense. I'm more so trying to point out what what caused this to occur. And I think that a lot of bad decisions early on in the Destiny community. I think a lot of bad decisions on where the world of Destiny would go, and a lot of bad decisions on not rebooting and trying something totally new, and the lack of changes to their game, and has caused this to occur. And this isn't just one person, this is multiple people, this is multiple situations, this is over years of time that, yeah, Sony, you got sold up the river. You basically thought you were buying something very much so more valuable than what you probably are going to get out of it. But there's a valuable lesson for everyone out there watching Bungie as they go through this problem, is that sometimes it's okay to take a reset. Sometimes it's okay to take a step back. Sometimes it's okay to really determine what the heck the value of your brand is before you just start spewing information. I feel like it was a lot of miscommunication with this, a lot of misinformation, and just a bunch of lies. It was just a bunch of, selling pipe dreams, man. I feel like that's all they were doing. Because even if Final Shape came out and been some grand thing, and a lot of people did enjoy it, this tells me that they were in way worse shape than I ever thought they was in. And to kind of hide that in a lot of ways, it kind of pulls back the take a look at all the things I've seen over the years and all the things that they don't do. Like, why didn't you ever fix Crucible? It's probably because you couldn't afford it. It's probably because you had so much stuff going on that you really couldn't even look at the Crucible. So yeah, I feel like and the funniest slap in the face is that they weren't even started or working on Destiny 3. They didn't do anything of that, which is understandable. They just finished Final Shape, but to have no concept, no scheme, no nothing, it was just kind of like, yeah, it's a mess, man. I can't blame it all on the developers, but what I can blame developers for is not uproar about how crappy the experience of the sole experience of your livelihood has become. It's become such a bad state. Let me take that back. It's become a bad state for new players. It's become a bad state for PvP players. It's become a great state for PvE players. But that is not what sold your game initially. Your game was not sold on a lack of engagement from new players, a lack of engagement from players that wanted to take PvE opponents and bring it into PvP. Your game was not built on just PvE. So to disassociate with the new players and disassociate with your PvP players, it does kind of take two pillars away to the point where you're just solely banking on people that already love your PvE experience to keep buying stuff. Like, how do you grow a company like that? So that was never going to work. So as much as I want to blame the heads, I think that everybody that decided to hang on with that initiative should really think about what is the true value of your brand. What is the true value of Destiny? Like, that was your brand. What is the value of it? And I think that once they figure that out, I think they have success again, but it's not going to be under the banner of Destiny. It's going to be under something new, some new IP. So hopefully Marathon. I don't know. But I'm talking too much. So let me know what y'all think, my Steam panel. What do y'all think about Bungie right now in their situation?
Yeah, I just got some notes from basically the announcement the other day that from their I don't know what his name is, but the current head of Bungie, they laid off about 17% of their staff, which ended up being about like 100 something people. They transfer a lot of people to different Sony studios now that they're in Sony. So instead of laying off like 300, they laid off like half of that, and the other people they put into different positions, which is good. It'll be nice for those people that they can still work, but hopefully Sony doesn't further lay them off later. But anyways,
his name is Pete Parsons, in total, by the way.
Okay, yeah. In total, they lost about 30%. But some other stuff is that Bungie, for the past few years, has been hiring like crazy. Like, there have been a whole bunch of layoffs, but Bungie has been kind of the place that everybody is going to because they offer two things: work from home, even when work from home for a lot of companies ended, and two, they were hiring a lot of younger career people. But anyways, that was because they were spending a lot of that money that Sony gave to them, what they bought them for. Like they bought them and they gave them like $2 billion advance or something like that for growing the company.
Oh,
and
wow.
So they were using that money. Oh yeah, that was part of the deal. They gave them a whole bunch of money specifically to hire because they were, they promised that we're going to grow Destiny for you. That's why Sony invested into them. So they gave them advance up front, and basically the only stipulation is whenever they were not profitable, Sony heads would come into Bungie and take over. So we were talking about that a couple months ago when Bungie did their first round of layoffs. That they, what was the last expansion? This one is Final Shape, and Lightfall was the last one, right?
Yes, Lightfall.
Yeah. Okay. So apparently, Lightfall missed its revenue target by 45%. And so Bungie laid off a bunch of people to not be have a hostile takeover by Sony. Final Shape, I don't know what the numbers are, but Final Shape is not looking good. So now that we're in this situation again where, but it seems like they're not able to fully avoid the Sony takeover. They lost two of their big studio leads, and now Sony is going to be stepping in, making more decisions on behalf of Bungie in regards to Destiny. A couple of other things. Payback was a game that they were working on. It wasn't Destiny 3, but it was supposed to be a third-person shooter in the Destiny universe. Some people were saying like it's a free-to-play, something like Warframe or something like that. That was canceled this year. They were going to make a mobile version of Destiny. That was canceled. They've been doing the yearly expansions like Final Shape and Lightfall. Those are supposedly going away as well. No more yearly expansions. Instead, they're going to have shorter, maybe not shorter seasons, but smaller content drops throughout the year, but no like full yearly expansion like they've been doing. And they said they want to rebuild the onboarding experience for new players. So like you mentioned, Deontay, the new player experience probably isn't the best, but that's what they want to rebuild because now they only got the older players, and the older players are not enough money, so you got to get new people in there somehow. So yeah, that's the state of Destiny. I mean, I feel like it makes sense because Destiny probably just got too big to handle. But what y'all think?
What you think, Jalen? You think Big Bag Sony can come in and fix them up?
I don't know if they can necessarily fix the game, man. I feel like it just need to. I feel like this game got like a long history, man. I know Destiny 1 and Destiny 2, two different games, but I mean, it's been going on for about 10 years, bro. Destiny is off to a rough start. It ain't never really found like a real solid spot where it's just like this is peak gameplay, like we love it, this, that, and the third. Like, obviously it was always subjective, right? So I don't really think that they can fix it. I think they really just need to start with the ground up and do something different. I remember some time ago, didn't they introduce something like that, like doing more frequent updates instead of doing the like the big raids, coming out with, content maybe like 2-3 times a year.
Yeah, they
Like,
called it episodes.
yeah, they had episodes with the little quests and the dungeons and stuff like that. And I don't feel like it's stuck. I feel like they just kind of rinsing and repeating things right now. And I mean, y'all know my stance. I mean, at Crucible, you know what I'm saying? But maybe it ain't going to get the money and all that type of stuff. So, I personally don't think they can come in and fix this game and stuff. It's, it's disheartening to see that, they put a lot of work in and, but it always had issues at first because I think it might have had something to do with, what was the Activision before?
Yeah,
yes.
there might have been some stuff with Activision, but I think the issue is that they've always struggled with money, and they were fighting with Activision to have creative control because they're like, we can turn it around if we stay in control. But if Activision take over, it might be more profitable, but that's not what the game we want to make. But it seems like regardless of who is their business partner, Bungie has issues with like, I was reading through a bunch of articles. They were like, they got an issue with cash burnout, where like they're spending too much cash every quarter that there's no way that they're ever gonna like make it up.
Yeah, I mean, there you have it. I don't think that's gonna be. I think they need to do something different, bro. Like, I don't know. I don't know if they need their company reworked or what. So
Okay, well, my thoughts are simple. And I think I laid them out pretty clearly, but to reiterate, I feel like Bungie has a fundamental problem with their pillars. They have an identity crisis. They don't know what they want to sell. And it's problems when they were really good at a multitude of things, but over the years they have begun to fail at everything. They have begun to fail at the PvE experience. They have begun to fail at the Crucible experience. They have begun to fail at the new player experience. They have just begun to fail the community. So, fundamentally, all they need to do is figure out what they are as an identity, and I think it will just go back to being good again. But this whole subscription, not understanding what they want as episodes, not understanding where the story's going, not really sure on how to monetize my game. All these things they threw at the wall, I feel like they don't even know where to go from here. Like, there is nothing I've seen that showed me this is the right move that Bungie made. Nothing. So that's an identity crisis. And they don't have a long time to fix it. I think Sony will come in, do away with a lot of the things that made Destiny annoying, remove it from that space of its own entity, and bring it back down to the realm of a game, a fun game. And that's it. And I think that will create an identity for them to build off of. So I do think Sony can fix them, because I do think Sony can temper their expectations and what they truly want to build. They think that that no one can rival them in storytelling and in gameplay, and that's 100% not true. They are really good at it. There's plenty of people that can rival them. They feel like their core mechanics are good enough to sell anything. That is not true. So what do you do when a company that, they flying way too close to the sun? You clip them wings. You bring them down to reality. You let them know, hey, you're not the best out here, and you're definitely not providing the best content for what you're trying to. Like, the cost to content is just ridiculous. Like, it's not there. How do we fix this? I know you wanted to make a first-in-class online MMO experience with shooters, but how do we actually make this valuable to anybody but Bungie? Because it ain't valuable to the customer no more. So who is it valuable to? That's the problem. It's a definite disconnect. Like, how do you perceive your value? And what do you think the customer is willing to pay? So let's figure that out. I think Sony is smart enough to figure that out. So when they do, I'll be back. Until then, they can keep their, I justify the price because when I went back to it, it was $20. I'm not justifying nothing else. I don't even have enough time to engage with all that $20 worth of content now. So I don't want to pay for it. Second, I don't even got time to play it. So who are you making this game for at this point? Like, that is their problem. So I think once they have someone that's going to slap some wrist, it's going to actually put them put baby in a corner and actually have them show out a vision for what a year worth of content looks like and sell that for $60 versus what they're trying to do now. So I think they have figured it out. I just don't think any of the old people are going to be there. So they too big. They too ambitious. I think they got shot in the foot with their ambition. So anyways, any final thoughts before we move on?
No, but like you said, they got a bunch of issues. They also need to make other games. I think that's part of the issue. Make Destiny smaller and try new stuff.
I agree. All right. Avowed. So they got delayed until next year. Gut reaction, Jalen. I know that was one of your most anticipated. Tell me, how do you feel about Avowed? I'm sorry. I can't do that. Avowed. Obsidian. Yo, man.
Just threw up 3 times.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Did you play Fallout New Vegas?
No.
Whatever. I don't care. The jokes, it never gets old to me to pretend like Jalen plays any of these games. But for Avowed recently got announced that it is being pushed back till next year. Um, Biggest proponent of that, and hear me and hear me well, everyone on the call. I ain't gonna name no names, but everybody on the call. Cause Xbox got too many games. I didn't think I was ever gonna hear that. You tell me Xbox got too many games coming out, so they had to push all it back? That's crazy. Hey, that's what I call. That's what I call.
Fake
That's
news.
a crazy coinkadink. Huh? Say that again.
Nothing, man.
It's blasphemy. It's. Am I being gaslit? That's what I wanted to know. I said, hold on now. You telling me Xbox no games? Saying they have too many to come out, and that's absolutely true. Like I said, when I first saw that they bought Bethesda and then they were trying to make a play for Activision, I always said they bought enough companies to never run out of games. And it's 100% true. So, Xbox put up this little Twitter post, and I hate that everybody still uses Twitter as their like soundboard, because they didn't even put up like a post on they didn't put up anything outside of just a tweet. But basically they were stating that, hey, we're not gonna have this is going to be moved back simply due to the amount of games that's coming out and in this time frame. And I'm trying to find the tweet now. Where are you? Where are you? Boy, y'all tweet a lot. Jeez Louise. Somebody find that tweet. Let me see. I can't find it. Anyways, the tweet. I give you a synopsis of what it was. Basically, it kind of had a bunch of games on there that was.
So I found it.
So can you read off the names
says,
of the games that were coming out?
Yeah, so many games coming. As such, we're moving Avowed to February 18th, 2025. Give players backlots some breathing room. There's World of Warcraft expansion in August, Age of Mythology Retold September, Aura History Retold September, Diablo expansion October, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 October, Flight Simulator expansion November, Indiana Jones 2024, but later this year, Shattered Space for Starfield expansion later this year, Towerborn this year, and then Avowed. And then there's 3 more games, but those are for next year. South of Midnight, Doom, and Fable next year.
And Avowed as of now. So this was like a way to kind of make me understand again that I can't just count out that the Call of Duty will continuously be in Game Pass every year as a big component of Xbox. So I'm like, are we going to have to always deal with the large game that Call of Duty is pushing back other games? I would think not, because Avowed doesn't fit in those categories. So I was really trying to understand why Avowed got pushed back. And the only thing I could think of was Shattered Space. Like, my understanding is that maybe Starfield Shattered Space is the only other game that's in an RPG element outside of Diablo that would really cause Avowed any issues. But I can't just think of what their first party is coming into at Game Pass. I also have to think about their third party. So, needless to say, it's a good problem to have, but it does give me concern about the future of these games and like when these games are tend to come out and whether or not he can really do that 4 big games a year. thing he was talking about, because it doesn't become realistic when you have so many third parties and other games that aren't associated necessarily with first party Xbox, but are still under that umbrella now. You know what I mean? So with South of Midnight, Doom, and Fable being under the bottom, there are plenty of games right now that they did not state in that bottom 2025 that I know had some type of, or could be in 2025. So it's just like I'm worried about the future of these games because they got too many. I keep chuckling. They got too many games, Jalen. As you stated, the system that collects dust for you right now. They have too many games, and they
You talking
have
about the ones that y'all barely got?
Man, I still got one. I don't know what you're talking about right now. I still got mine right now, hooked up, playing, and still updated, baby. So all the games that is the system that you state, you know, on a constant basis that they ain't got no games. They have to determine their schedule based off of the amount of content that they have under their umbrella as of now.
Yes, Deontay. Xbox got a lot of games.
Yes. Yeah, go ahead, say it again. You say it? What'd you say?
They got a lot of games that are relevant that we ain't want to play, and clearly not worthy enough for Xbox to keep his Xbox.
Hey. Stop all
Glad
that
we got
extra
to that
noise,
point.
man. You can stop with the extra. You just say they got too many games and they have to move stuff out the way. That's it.
Too many games where y'all got Overwatch.
Oh my
that y'all
God!
wanna play.
Yes, here we go again. Extra comments. It's like too many games. That's it. That's all it is. Because there's plenty of games on the PlayStation that I ain't playing, but they got plenty of games. That don't discount the games. So like I said, very good. That's a good point, right? It's valid. The Xbox got plenty of games. I ain't saying I'm playing all of them. I only got interest in Indiana Jones, Shattered Space, and Call of Duty, and Diablo. But again, I still consider Call of Duty and Diablo Activision, and I don't consider it Xbox yet. But I gotta get in the mindset that that's Xbox now. But yeah, they got too many games. It's still crazy to see World of Warcraft there. Like, come on. They just bought stuff, man. Y'all understand what I'm saying? Like, I hope I got enough money like that. Just be buying stuff like that. Just go crazy and just be like, yeah, I'm now a part of the big. I'm now even further stationed in the big three because I just bought a bunch of stuff. That's all they did. They ain't put no effort into it. They might have put some effort a long time ago with their Windows and getting people on XP and getting people on Windows 7. But they ain't did nothing in regards to in the last 6 years to be able to say I got all these games outside of money. And that's crazy to me. But they do have money. So they now own World of Warcraft. They now own Diablo. They now own Call of Duty. I never heard of Age of Mythology. I don't know if that's an Activision or if that's an Xbox thing. Aura, History Untold.
Those are two RTS games that I get. Maybe they were under Activision.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, but they got games, man. So when people were stating that, I was like, this is laughable because at some point we were talking about them as if they could never have a decent lineup of stuff. And in 2 years' time, after all the money been spent, they got too many games. And I think it's going to continue to happen, though. On a serious note, I think it's going to continue to happen. I think that this whole too many games is going to continue to happen because they honestly can't. There's plenty of games and companies that they have under their belt right now that we haven't seen or discussed. And regardless of how big or ambitious they think they are, I think that this is going to be a continued trend for them to have to really start to schedule games in a meaningful way. But yeah, it's a good problem to have. I ain't gonna knock it. I ain't gonna hate on it. I just think that it does suck for people that actually wanted to play Avowed because I'm pretty sure there's nothing wrong with the game. It's just really been pushed for It don't want to be Titanfall 2'd, which I wish EA would have did that. Versus just putting it out and letting it fail. But yeah. About February 18th, 2025. I don't think anybody's hurting for it. Honestly, I'm not hurting for it. I never was going to play it. Josh, was you?
Yeah, I'm gonna play it, but like you said, there's some overlap between Bethesda and Obsidian, so at least not having them right next to each other is good. Allows people to spend a lot more time with Starfield.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Shattered Space is probably going to be a big deal. They're going to probably push it as that big deal. And they already got my money, so I'm just waiting for my game. But Avowed is probably going to be an afterthought. And they probably want to give it its just due as well. Because I'm pretty sure it's probably a meaningful experience Obsidian has created. So it's dope that they do that type of stuff too. But at the end of the day, people want to play games, so... it sucks, but it doesn't. Just so we clear though, there's going to be some pretty heavy hitters coming out over this next couple of months. So make sure you re-up that subscriptions. Make sure you're ready to play some games. We gotta try that new Omni movement, right, Jalen? We gotta we gotta get in Diablo and all that other stuff too. So. More life, more games. More life, more games for sure. But let's move on. What else we got? Honestly, I don't know much about this new character. For Overwatch. Jalen, when last time you played Overwatch? I think it's been like almost 6 months for me now. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while for me. Ever since they put that healing update and stuff in, they kind of effed me up some. I ain't gonna cut.
Yeah, it's been a while because we did that, and that was like the last time we kind of played it. Yeah, and maybe that was like 4 months ago. I don't know, but it was a while ago. Josh, have you played it recently?
No, I have not. Last time I played was with y'all, but yeah, it's been since like season 8, and we're on season 12 now. And that's part of the reason I want to, I guess, bring it up, because we put it down. Just it might have been scheduling issues, but maybe we weren't also feeling the game that much at that time. But I think Overwatch, as its own game, is still a unique genre and still fun to play. So if we did jump back in, I was looking at the character roster coming up, and they showed a couple months ago they showed off Venture, which is the last character. Venture, I guess, has been causing a lot of issues in the game that made people mad because they can dig underground and disappear and then pop up and shoot people. So that, I guess, that was kind of annoying. But the other character that just came out, Juno, is a healer. That's a more of a Lucio type, where they have a lot of movement options and they can heal and shoot at the same time. So it makes healing a lot more fun, because part of the issue with Overwatch for, I guess, us is the probably the role queue, whereas I can play every character, but generally you two play like a DPS, and the healers, other than Lucio and Moira, I personally didn't like playing a lot of the healers. So if we were to get back in, maybe I'll play Juno, because since she's more movement focused, I don't feel like I'm getting bullied the whole time trying to heal people. But that, I think Overwatch has a issue with variety right now, where there are a lot of fun DPS characters. The tanks are either terrible or too good, and then the healers are not that fun to play. So I think as they are adding more characters and trying to rebalance it, maybe they can fix that. I know they tried to fix it with giving everybody passive healing, but I don't know if I didn't play enough of it to really get the full impression of it. But you feel like you didn't like it, Jalen, the passive healing, or
Yeah, now I wasn't the biggest fan of it, just because it just felt like it felt like it slowed the game down, kind of.
Mhm.
Just because the fact that people know they can heal would mean people would try to go heal and stuff, and I feel like certain strategies. I mean, I'm not saying that I was the biggest fan of this, but it's like if you're being shot at while you're healing, I forgot what it did. I think it either slowed down the healing,
Yes, it did.
or you didn't heal as much or something like that. So I felt
Mhm.
like it probably sped it up in that regard, but it just I got annoyed that certain characters would get away and they just back up and wait for their healers and they just pop back up and stuff like that versus kind of having more a strategic approach, right? I'd be like, okay, well they healer nearby, so they probably gonna pop back up more frequently, more readily, stuff like that. But it wasn't that. Even like trying to chase people to health packs, they didn't necessarily need to do that. And granted, this from a small timeline at which I was playing the game. They could have reworked some of this stuff, but I just felt like it was. I don't know, man. I just wasn't. I guess it's a huge adjustment for me because I wasn't used to playing like that, and when people can play like that now, it kind of threw me off some when I was going against some of the people.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, I think that my sentiment behind it all was that I thought it was like a useless change. It wasn't really a meaningful one. I don't know if I was more so thinking of it like that it was impactful at all. I just thought it was meaningless, and I think that it didn't really it didn't really change the dynamic of the game as I thought it was going to be. Um, I think I remember stating that everything felt quick, and but that was simply due. That wasn't the change of the health. It was the change of the size of the bullets and the reticle of how you would be able to still hit people when you weren't hitting them. So that was the big change that kind of threw me off, and I was like, okay, this is dumb. Why am I still able to hit him with so much, like it was so varied in my shots that I could still hit him, and I wasn't even shooting next to him. You know what I mean? Like it was that bad for me, and I was like, wow, I'm much more accurate technically when I'm not. So I always thought, okay, this is not like skill based no more. They're literally trying to create a more it's less about skill and more about teamwork, but at the same time they're giving you healing, so it was like counterintuitive. So I thought it was a useless change, but you know that was my I stopped playing it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I ain't feel the most compelled to go back to that game. I'm more than willing to give it a try. Though. I'm sure I still enjoy the game,
Yeah,
especially if
for
it's
sure.
something that we all can connect on. I just know, I know like Josh's schedule, and we wasn't finding the most enjoyment out of it. We didn't really get to sample the game as much when they made that change with the health and stuff. So, but like I said, I'll be inclined to like check it out and stuff like that. I don't gotta,
Yeah, I
you
still
know.
got to download it. That's usually a key factor for me. Is like once I download, I'm done with it. And I think I just deleted Apex. Yeah,
Hold on, let me make sure I even got this mug down. What I feel like I deleted it the whole time.
yeah.
I might have downloaded it, but it's not that big, I think. But I feel like yeah, Overwatch might be the game that we will return to the most. I thought it was gonna be Apex, but that didn't pan out.
That's facts.
Nah, it's unfortunately that game is cooked. Yeah, I still got Overwatch downloaded.
I think I deleted that mug. I was playing Nakata or something. I forgot that game's called.
Mm. Oh, you talking about the Blades game? The one with the
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that. What is it? Battle Royale, samurais or
Yup,
swords
yup,
or
yup,
Oh,
something.
Naraka.
Yeah, I
yup.
was playing that. It's like top from Penny Town.
Now we need to just buy Storm 3 on Steam and we can play that.
Man, let me rant for this House of Dragons real quick, and then we can be done. So, they pulled another one. They decided to give us nothing but an hour and 30 minute. Wait, let me ask. I'm not
So
I'm not gonna
so wait,
spoil nothing.
I don't know anything about House of Dragons. I know it's a prequel, But this is the last like episode of
Season
the
2.
whole show,
Season 2.
or just season 2? Okay.
Season 2. Let me tell y'all about how you get people prepared for the next season. You don't do it by giving us an hour and 30-minute trailer for next episodes. You don't do it by doing absolutely nothing in the story that providing any type of change to what we already knew at the beginning of the game, of the story. Like, season 2 can literally be skipped and you don't lose any context. I just felt like, wow, what a waste of time. And I told Karina, I said, Karina, I don't know why you're watching this. You already know what's going to happen, right? And literally, they can't do nothing special to make me want to watch it because I already know what's going to happen in the future. And she's like, no, they're going to tell a story. It's going to be good. It's going to be blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, sure, fine. So we watch it. And I'm not going to lie, there was cool moments in the show. And it had me feeling like, wow, this is meaningful for them. But it has nothing to do with the overarching story that I know that none of y'all matter. Because we already know what's going to happen. So the fact that they even decided to bring back the essence of Winter is Coming and the last episode, when they left the other episode with the Winter is Coming stuff, it just felt like a slap in the face. It felt like so boring. It felt like a waste of time. I was extremely annoyed that I stayed up yesterday to watch that. Because we weren't able to watch it, and I was able to watch it the next day. And yeah, I'm not going to spoil anything in case people haven't watched it, but honestly, it's a complete waste of time. I'm not saying that the actors didn't do a phenomenal job. I'm saying that the showrunners and the people that decided to leave it at that for the final episode should be slapped. That was rude. It was annoying and it was boring, and it should have been something meaningful to have to occur. There was plenty of meaningful things that happened throughout the middle of the season. For nothing to happen on the last episode tells me everything I need to know about these seasons and what's going to happen next. And it just felt like, where do y'all think? I don't know where people get off of just wasting people's time sometimes, but I'm not saying that you don't have freedom, creative freedom to make or do what you want in a show. But in reality, we all know was bound to come. So it just felt like the biggest letdown I've ever watched. Honestly, I never watched anything that I was just like, why am I watching an hour and 30 minutes of people come to conclusions that I came to at the first episode? That's what made me mad. Because I'm like, y'all just wasted the viewer's time. Like, nobody learned. Nobody grew. We all grew before them. Like, nobody was like, oh, this is a complicated situation and we should contemplate it a little bit. It was like, oh, no, everything that's happening right now, we all knew should have happened at the first episode. So that is where you feel like a big waste of time has occurred. So just so y'all know, I don't want to rant too long, but that Game of Thrones, House of Dragons spinoff crap, exactly what I just stated is crap. It's not that it's a bad show, but to people to give Ring of Powers flack and they think that this is special, oh yeah, go somewhere, bro. Y'all don't even got you don't gotta talk to me no more about no stories, about no storylines, about anything meaningful. Like, I like Ring of Power, and people give me flack for liking Ring of Power, but you okay with House of Dragons? You thought that was meaningful? Yeah, it was cool first season, but for nothing to happen season 2, yeah, I can tell a cash grab when I see one. That was a cash grab. And they succeeded. I think a lot of people were very much so anticipating something special happening at the end. But at the end of the day, the showrunner gonna do the showrunner thing. HBO gonna do a HBO thing. And I guess we gotta wait till season 3 to see anything meaningful. And honestly, it's not even meaningful because I don't want to spoil it, but it's always if you're always going to continue to flash us with what is to happen, how do you build up momentum for what hasn't? I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you tell us the future and keep us resonating with the present. You know? Like, I don't see how people do that. I can't really be like, oh, my destiny is kind of laid out here, but let me still watch the motions. Like, why the heck do I want to watch the motions? I know where it's going to end. That was House of Dragons wrapped up in one, and they slapped you in the face with it at the end. So, season 2 at least. Season 1 was okay, but don't waste your time. It's I think that's it. Anything y'all want to add to House of Dragons? If y'all seen it, watched it, heard about it.
You seen it, Jalen?
I highly don't.
Cause me, no, I don't like watching long TV shows, and especially if it's a long ongoing series, I like to wait till it's finished to like know the overall, like not to know like any plot points or anything like that, but was the show overall received well? And Game of Thrones, I wanted to get into it, but this keeps happening where, it was great and then eventually it ends up bad. I mean, I know that I might still enjoy it, but I don't really like going into long shows that have like unsatisfying endings. So,
Oh yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
I ain't watched none of that show. To be honest with you, I'm probably unpopular opinion. Y'all know be having weird stuff that turn me off, and that I think I heard something about that sex abuse.
Sex abuse.
yeah,
What are you talking about?
yeah, there's Game of Thrones.
Oh, never mind. Yeah,
Bro, I
yeah,
said
yeah.
show that, you know what I'm saying? I said that all wrong, bro. That's why I just started laughing. I was just looking like, bro, I don't need to see all that. And it's on HBO. I was just looking like, bro, I'm not finna watch that, bro. Like, people like, it's so good. It got all this type of, I was just like, I'm good, bro. So basically, I ain't watch it. I mean, I wasn't invested. I know a lot of people like that type of stuff or just like the show because I heard it's good, but I'm not. I had no investment. I had no intent to watch that show. I
Mm-hmm.
just wasn't interested in it. You know, and not to say that is a bad show or anything. I just probably got bad taste, and I'm okay with that.
You okay? Yeah, I think that there is a. It's totally fine not liking that show. I think there is a level of like sometimes you be thinking to yourself, how am I watching this insanity? But yeah, I feel like there is a I don't know, it's a nice relief to kind of know that this is all make believe and there's other people that do bad things to each other, and it's just like, how would you even start to develop these types of characters in your brain? So I understand. I totally understand because I'm always questioning every time I watch it. Sometimes I'm like, bro, what is my man's? What is JJ? What's his name? George R. Martin. What my man's be drinking, bro? Because he be tweaking sometimes. There was a part in there where Damon got visited by his mama, and I don't even want to talk about the rest of it. But it was just like, bro, what is going
This
on,
incest.
bro? Don't never mind,
and
bro.
Nah,
all over Game of Thrones.
that's what I was saying. I was about to say when you said that, I was like, I was finna say that on it. That's literally what I was pointing to when I
Yes.
accidentally said that. I was like, I'm like, bro, it's more than just crunching, bro. It's like next level, bro. Diabolical.
Yeah, it's
So
diabolical for sure. I think that's something something George need to go to therapy for sure. But yeah, I think that it's still a cool world that he built, and I understand that this level of fantasy comes with a grain of salt. But honestly, the fact that y'all did that it really made me mad yesterday. So, but anyways, that's it. I ain't really got much else. Anything else I want to cover off on or say before we get up out of here?
No, I'm
no,
good.
man.
We had a good podcast. Mostly bad news, but hopefully we got some good news next week.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. All right. Well, I appreciate you as always. If you got to this part, you're the real OG. I want to thank you for listening, tuning in, watching us, enjoying us talk about stuff. I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. And we will talk to y'all next week. Peace.